Oh, yeah. Is it Saturday already? Have we made it through yet another week of Star Wars news? And this, my friends, is the third time we're talking about it this week, and it just keeps getting better every time we talk about it. The hunt for Ben Solo movie. All the truth from behind the scenes. At what stage this project was canceled will blow your mind, but it has all been revealed. Steven Soderbergh, Adam Driver, uh, Rebecca Burnt, I think her name is. A lot of people attached to this movie. Kathleen Kennedy loved it. Dave Filoni loved it. Gary Beck loved it. And the fans are striking back. Star Wars fans all across the country giving their support, and probably the most united I've seen the Star Wars fandom in a really long time. A really, really, really long time. We got that and Maul Shadow Lord leaks to talk about today, so without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? Oh, we got a fun one today. Star Wars fans strike back, uniting behind one simple cause, a movie titled The Hunt for Ben Solo. And my God, I did not think it would come to this. I really didn't think it would get this big. The sequel trilogy is a very divisive topic whenever we talk about it. The Rey movie, where it's always a mixed bag, but for some reason, now I won't say the entire Star Wars fandom is together on this because I still see a ton of people saying, nope, nothing to do with the sequels, please. But I will say the majority, by a lot, of Star Wars fans have jumped on board the bandwagon for the hunt for Ben Solo. So, before we dive into what truth has been revealed by Steven Soderbergh and Adam Driver, let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Let's start the stream we're supposed to. Let's start the stream the way we're supposed to do it. Okay. YouTube has not fixed this, and I'm upset right now. Not a good way to start the stream, but whatever. Kyler, how we doing? Manning Films, what is up? Joe, how we doing in the house? Brandon Baker, what is up? Lobo, what is up? Vegas Jedi, how we doing? I think it's the Tafari Tunnel. Sorry. Starship 66 in the house. Darth Thor, how we doing? Pipeline Podcast in the building. John Groom, what is up? Navarro, how we doing? Matt in the building. Darth Plagueis lives, what is up? Kyler, how we doing? Nathan in the building. Star Wars Nerd, what is up? All right, if I missed you, Mando United, what's up? If I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little...
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so, I mean, we're going to spend the majority of the live stream today talking about this Hunt for Ben Solo movie because, you know, what else are we going to talk about? Just kidding. We do have other news to get to. The Maul Shadow Lord leaks. It's going to be awesome, fantastic, whatever. But we will spend the majority of today's live stream talking about this Ben Solo movie because I'm at about 99.9% sure it will happen. 99.9% sure this movie will happen. Whether it's the Star Wars fans that push it over the edge, this reunion, for lack of a better word, this uniting of the Star Wars fandom behind one simple cause, the hunt for Ben Solo, that might push it over the edge, or Adam Driver, Steven Soderbergh, Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, these people who are in charge over there. I guess Adam Driver's not in charge, but you know what I mean. The people who are in charge over there at Lucasfilm and at Disney could be getting this movie done. So, with that being said, let's dive in to all of this. Hang on, let me put this over there, put that over there, put this over there. Let's do this. Okay, I think. Okay, sorry, fixed it. But wait, what the heck was that? I barely touched it. All right, that's better. Okay. So, first things first, let's start it with the poll. The Kylo Ren movie is a massive nothing burger. Oh, you're about to be proven quite wrong over the next probably 45 minutes. So let's start it with the poll. You know, usually I'd be like, yeah, you're probably right. I mean, this most likely would not happen. But the last 6 days, 6 days have provided enough evidence to suggest otherwise. So let's put up a poll. Do you want the hunt for Ben Solo to get made? Or let's put it this way, to happen. Do you want the hunt for Ben Solo to happen? Do we want this movie to still go? I don't know what's going on. Oh, that's better. Okay, that's better. That's better. Okay, fixed it. A new mic? We got a new mic a while ago. Yeah. Easter egg in today's stream? No. Okay? No. A snappy haircut? Well, thank you. Thank you. Yes, actually, Samantha cuts my hair. But no. We're getting distracted, chat. No Easter egg today. I said I was going to do a full new week with the new studio, so today's the last day. So starting back on Tuesday, we'll have going back to Easter eggs behind me. Okay, but let's start with the Ben Solo of it all. Ben Solo is the best character of the sequel trilogy. I agree. Kylo Ren is by far my favorite character from the sequel trilogy, and I want more. Not just post-sequels, but I want more young Ben Solo. I want him before he turned to the dark side. I want what we got for the prequel trilogy, for Anakin Skywalker, for all that stuff. 7 seasons of the Clone Wars, 3 movies. I want it all for Ben Solo. And Luke Skywalker and Leia and Han and Chewie and Lando and all the other characters that come along with it. But Ben Solo specifically, his fall to the dark side, I need it. Okay, so let's start here. Let's start with the latest and greatest, shall we? I'll give a little bit of a recap on what's happened this week so far. So, I think on Monday, Adam Driver came out with this new interview with the Associated Press where he said that there was a hunt for Ben Solo movie that was in development for over 2 years. They pitched it. He went to Steven Soderbergh, Oscar-winning director Steven Soderbergh, directed the Ocean's trilogy. Steven Soderbergh, okay? Went to him. They came up with this incredible idea, the coolest effing script that Adam Driver's ever been a part of. And they pitched the idea to Lucasfilm, to Kathleen Kennedy, to Carrie Beck, to Dave Filoni. They loved it, absolutely loved the idea, thought it was fantastic, would be the perfect way to transition us into the post-sequel world. They pitched it to Disney, and that's where it died. Bob Iger, Alan Bergman, they said no. And the reasoning was because they couldn't see how Ben Solo was alive. I know. I've been seeing all the memes online. It's pretty funny. You brought back Palpatine. Somehow Palpatine returns. I get it. It's funny. But either way, however you want to put it, it got canceled after over 2 years of development. And now it gets even crazier. The news that we have today makes all of this even more ridiculous. So, let's read this. The hunt for Ben Solo reportedly had planned start date with Alan Bergman and Bob Iger when Alan Bergman and Bob Iger axed it over internal politics. Oh,
this is where the fun begins.
If you didn't think this was crazy enough, we're just getting started. We've just scratched the surface on how insane the truth is about this Ben Solo movie. So let's take a look at this, shall we? Oh, we got a super chat? Hang on. Before we even start reading, we got a super chat. Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $10 holla. My God, that's extremely generous and a great way to start the live stream, if I do say so myself. It says, what are the chances that this movie actually happens? Much love. Well, let's ask the class. Chat, out of 100, like a 50% chance, 75% chance, 100% chance, what percent chance do you think this Ben Solo movie actually happens? What do we think? Now, if you asked me on Monday of this week, if you asked me 5 days ago, I would have probably been like, I don't know, 40%. Yeah, a little bit under 50-50, I'd say. But here I sit today, on October 25th, 2025, Saturday at 2:10 p.m. And I'm around a 90. Actually, scratch that. I'm around like a 99. And here's why. Here's why. So tell me in the chat. Here's why. In a new update for The Hunt for Ben Solo, the movie that Adam Driver developed with Steven Soderbergh and collaborated for 2 years with Lucasfilm, a report from the playlist suggests that Lucasfilm was already about to enter pre-production with a fully finished script. So take everything you thought you knew about this movie. The fact that you thought it was just a concept, an idea. There was a fully finished script ready to go into pre-production for this film. I continue. And it was then, after the script was fully completed and they were about to go into pre-production, that this movie got canceled. That they took it to Bob Iger and Alan Bergman, who dismissed it much more quickly than they ever expected. Soderbergh himself had confirmed that has confirmed that it was first fully conceptualized idea Kathleen Kennedy was the first fully conceptualized idea Kathleen Kennedy ever took to Iger and the CEO said no to. The first ever fully finished script, fully finished idea that Kathleen Kennedy ever brought to Bob Iger that he said no to. That's insane. That's insane. But it gets even crazier. According to reports, the script that Scott Z. Burns was writing was completed. I don't think you guys are fully grasping what this means. It was actually completed. A full script of the entire movie. Not just an idea, the entire script. Okay. It hailed from the pitch that Steven Soderbergh and Rebecca Blunt, the alias used by Soderbergh's wife, Julie Arzner? Sure. Burns, who received $3 million for writing the script, is Lucasfilm's highest paid writer ever. It just keeps getting crazier. Every sentence you read in this article just gets more insane. Not only was the script fully finished, but Scott Z. Burns received $3 million, making him the highest paid script writer from Lucasfilm in history for this Hunt for Ben Solo movie that got canceled. I continue. The movie, which had an internal code name of Quiet Leaves, was a concept that the people at Lucasfilm were quite excited about. Kathleen Kennedy gave it the stamp of approval, while CCO, Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni, and the head of development, Carrie Beck, were also closely involved in the process. So the theories that we came up with about how this is connected heavily to the Ahsoka Season 1 World Between Worlds sequence, Dave Filoni knowing about this Hunt for Ben Solo movie and wanting to establish a connection and how, an explanation for how Ben Solo could return using the World Between Worlds, explaining it in Ahsoka Season 1 first with Ahsoka and Anakin Skywalker, and then, years later, making Ben Solo return with the same device, I guess, calling the World Between Worlds a device, a plot device, if you will. So, Dave Filoni being heavily involved in this production of this movie, or creation of this movie, does suggest even more so that he would have been setting up how Ben Solo could return in Ahsoka Season 1. Okay? Okay. It continues. The report describes it as being ready to shoot. And as part of the pitch to Disney, they even proposed a filming start date. So let me clear the air here. Not only did they have a fully finished script, they were ready to go into pre-production and ready to shoot. Dave Filoni, Carrie Beck, Kathleen Kennedy loved it and were heavily involved in the creation of it. They had a ready-to-shoot filming start date to pitch to Disney. They brought all of that, a $3 million highest paid script writer in history of Lucasfilm with Scott Z. Burns. And they brought all of that to Bob Iger and Alan Bergman, and they said no. Are you with me so far? It gets crazier. I know. This sounds insane, but it gets even more wild. So bear with me. Unfortunately, a lack of creativity on the part of the people in Lucasfilm's C-suites above Kathleen Kennedy is apparently to blame for why The Hunt for Ben Solo did not move forward. Despite all of that momentum that we just talked about, that it had going for it, Alan Bergman, Disney's entertainment co-chairman, and Kathleen Kennedy's immediate superior, Alan Bergman, took an unusually long time to read the script. And ultimately, he and the CEO, Bob Iger, expressed confusion as to how Ben Solo, who died in The Rise of Skywalker, could return. Both had reservations about franchise continuity, which shocked Lucasfilm since they felt the story's logic was clear and creatively sound, the reporter says. So they pitch it to them. It takes them a very weird amount of time to get back to them. It takes them an abnormally long period for them to read the script. And they come back and say, not only are you not going to make this movie, but we don't understand how Ben Solo could have survived. Even though the story's logic, the full script, the entire movie itself explains it, they still didn't get it, and they still didn't want it. There's more. It is speculated that the decision had everything to do with internal politics. Internal politics within Disney itself. The report suggests that Bergman was being groomed by Bob Iger to his potential successor, which still could likely happen. And Bob Iger backed Bergman's skepticism for the film. Since then, however, the prospect of Alan Bergman succeeding Iger has internally been met with skepticism inside of Disney. So at the time, they thought that this was going to happen, but now it seems like Bergman is not going to be the replacement. With executives like Josh D'Amaro, the parks chief, and Dana Walden, the other internal co-chairwoman, potentially rising as possible candidates to replace Bob Iger. Now, the rumor is, where we are at, is that Bob Iger is supposed to be stepping down as CEO next year. Now, before you're like, Mike, he's not going anywhere. He's already stepped down. Like, this is Bob Iger's second stint as CEO, because around 2019, 2020, he stepped down and they brought in Bob Chapek, and things went to a disaster very quickly because of a lot of different things. A global pandemic definitely didn't help. And all of that led to Bob Iger's return to Star Wars. Bob Iger's coming back to Star Wars back to Disney, as the CEO, and has been there ever since. Now we're in 2025, and his return is coming to an end. So they're looking for a replacement. And Alan Bergman seemed like the guy at the time, and now it's seeming like they're going in a different direction. So the guy who didn't like the Ben Solo movie, The Hunt for Ben Solo, is on the outs. He's on his way out the door. Actually, both guys who didn't like the Hunt for Ben Solo movie are both on their way out the door. Keep that in mind. So, the internal politics that they talk about here is that at this point, when this movie was pitched to them, Alan Bergman was supposed to be the successor to Bob Iger, and now things have changed. So, Adam Driver and Steven Soderbergh were not compensated for their efforts for quiet leaves. As Soderbergh wrote on Blue Sky, The Hunt for Ben Solo was an unfortunate horror of being the only pitch that hit a final script phase for Kathleen Kennedy, that Kathleen Kennedy greenlit, and Disney still shut it down. As he said this, Also, in the aftermath of the hunt for Ben Solo, I've not seen it abbreviated that way. That's pretty cool. The HFBS situation. I asked Kathleen Kennedy if Lucasfilm had ever turned in a fully finished script for greenlight to Disney and had it rejected, and she said no, this was the first. So the first time ever in history that a fully fledged finished script okayed by Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, Carrie Beck, loved by Adam Driver, the guy who's going to play the main role, said it's the coolest effing script he's ever read in his life. They paid $3 million to get the script done. It was fully ready to go, ready to shoot, had a filming start date. For the first time in history, got denied by the studio. Denied. Needless to say, the internet hasn't really taken this news very well. That's an understatement. That's the understatement of the week, Jet. The understatement of the week. Especially not vocal fans of the Ben Solo character. One of the more passionate and active elements of the sequel trilogy fan base, that's for sure. Again, Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, for most people, it's their favorite character. For most people. Tell me in the chat if it's yours. Of the entire sequel trilogy, who is your favorite character? For me, it's Ben Solo, and it's not even close. But tell me in the chat. So, people have been coming together behind this idea. Whenever we talk about the Rey movie on this channel, whenever we talk about the post-sequel world with Rey and Finn and Poe Dameron and Rose and those characters, we have a pretty big divide in the chat. We have a pretty big divide amongst fans, whether they're excited for a Rey movie or what. When it comes to a Ben Solo movie, it's completely different. The conversation has gone completely differently than I ever thought it would have. Honestly, I thought sequel trilogy, people were just going to say no immediately, even though I love the character of Kylo Ren. But to my surprise, it's gone the exact opposite way. So this right here, this article explains the truth behind the movie. Now let's get to the fandom's reaction, because this is where things get even crazier. I know. Okay. Honestly, what first felt like just a cool little thing for us to talk about on a Tuesday live stream, another canceled Star Wars project that sounds pretty cool, Adam Driver wants to come back to Star Wars, has turned into a week-long news headline where Star Wars fans are uniting, and it's just insanity. I don't know what happened. Did I wake up in Bizarro Land? Like, when did people start to like the sequel trilogy? When did this happen? I've always been a huge fan of Kylo Ren, but when did everybody else? When did the Star Wars fandom reunite? I must have missed it. Did I sleep through my alarm? Is it even 2025 anymore? Because the fandom's reaction, as the title of this live stream suggests, the Star Wars fans have strike back. The fandom's reaction is so much better than I could have ever possibly imagined. Because yesterday, did anybody see this? Yesterday, a Star Wars fan paid money for a plane to fly over Disney Studios, hanging a banner off the back that says, save #the hunt for Ben Solo. And from what I've heard, this plane flew around Disney Studios for hours. Hours. With this flag behind saying, save #the hunt for Ben Solo. This is it. I mean, this is it. Lucasfilm wanted it to happen so bad. Kathleen Kennedy loved the idea. Dave Filoni loved the idea. Even possibly set up a way for Ben Solo to return using Ahsoka Season 1 with the World Between Worlds. It's just Disney. It's just Bob Iger. It's just those people over there at Disney that we need to get to. And stuff like this, when you fly around the studio's heads, Disney Studios, for hours with a sign that says, save #the hunt for Ben Solo, it's undeniable. You can't look at this and go, nah. You can't look online, see all this stuff. Anytime It's like Battlefront 3. You remember back in June? Give me a 1 into the chat if you remember this. Back in June, or maybe late May, when Battlefield 2 got this crazy big revival, and Battlefront 3 was getting this huge push. You couldn't go in any comment section for any Star Wars video or post or anything that didn't say, make Battlefront 3. We want Battlefront 3. Hashtag Battlefront 3. It was everywhere. Now, in October, it's the hunt for Ben Solo. You can't go anywhere in a comment section for a Star Wars post, anywhere, without seeing save the hunt for Ben Solo. Ben Solo's still alive. Like anything about Ben Solo. Which is wild. We're talking about the most divisive piece of Star Wars content to ever exist, the sequel trilogy. And we are only 6 years away, 6 years since the Rise of Skywalker, 10 years since The Force Awakens. And things have just completely flipped on its head. It's crazy. It's crazy. But if you thought that was just it, if you thought just one simple fan renting a plane, flying over Disney Studios with a thing that said, actually, I got a better picture of it somewhere. Let me see. Yeah, this. This is a better picture. Oh, wrong button, sorry. Save the hunt for Ben Solo. This is what the sign said that was trailing behind the plane. If you thought this was it, oh, you are really wrong. I have been seeing multiple people online trying to buy billboards or trying to rent a billboard to put a sign saying make Ben Solo. Some of them have been denied because it's I guess alluding to an IP that's not theirs or something, like they can't green light something that says Ben Solo on it because that's a character from Lucasfilm. So that they've been denied. I don't know. But I did see one that said, if you thought this was good, this right here, this stunt with the banner, if you thought that was good, stay tuned. Because on Saturday, which is today, in Times Square, there's going to be a poster that says, save the hunt for Ben Solo. I don't know if it's going to be true, but clearly Star Wars fans are taking this to heart and striking back. They are using the power that we've talked about over the last, 2 or 3 months, the power that Star Wars fans have to make things happen, to bring back Boba Fett after seeing him fall into the Sarlacc pit 40 years before. Bring back Darth Maul because he's a fan favorite character. Cast Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano. Star Wars fans have this insane amount of power, and we're using it. This is us using it. So, things just keep getting crazier. From more truth being revealed about this movie, like last we talked, we had no idea that there was a fully finished script, that Burns got paid $3 million, the most that anybody's ever been paid by Lucasfilm to make a script, and that it was ready to shoot when it got pitched to Bob Iger and Alan Bergman, and they still said no. We didn't know any of that. Never mind the fact of the internal politics of Bergman was supposed to be the replacement for Iger, and now he's not. A lot of things have changed since this project got canceled. And there's a reason, as many people have brought up over and over again this last week, that Adam Driver revealed it. Just like Ryan Reynolds, if you don't know this, Ryan Reynolds teased him in the Deadpool costume to try and get Deadpool made. And I think Adam Driver's doing a very similar thing here, and it's going to work. I'm not like, oh, maybe it'll work. It's going to work. The reaction from the Star Wars fandom is exactly what they wanted. And it gets even crazier. Today, and I hope Holly doesn't mind me shouting her out for this, but one of our Discord members, if you guys are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it immediately. One of our Discord members is at a convention. Let me see if I can. Is at SpaceCon. And they were in line to get an autograph. And in the next line over was the line for Matthew Wood. Give me a 1 into the chat if you know who Matthew Wood is. And give me a 2 if you don't. Matthew Wood. Do we know? So Matthew Wood apparently is a hockey player too. Nope, not that Matthew Wood. Matthew Wood. So Matthew Wood, not only did he play Bib Fortuna in the Book of Boba Fett, he's the voice for all the droids in the Clone Wars. He's got 1,000,001 different parts in Star Wars specifically, but he's mostly a sound editor for Lucasfilm. So if you look a little bit at his career here, starting at Lucasfilm as a games tester at Lucasfilm Arts, then moved to the company's sound department, where he worked on all 3 films of the prequel trilogy, supervising sound editing, uncredited role in The Phantom Menace as Bib Fortuna. So he was Bib Fortuna in The Phantom Menace and in the Book of Boba Fett. I did not know that. Attack of the Clones, he played 2 characters there. Revenge of the Sith, he appeared as Orn Free Ta. He plays he's the voice of General Grievous. He's done 1,000,001 different things in Star Wars, but he was also the supervising sound editor of the prequel trilogy and still works with Lucasfilm today. So, all that to be said, Matthew Wood has this big line out in front of him at this convention. Big line, people waiting for him to get for signatures from him. Okay? And he stands up with his phone recording, and he says to the line in front of him, "Do we want the hunt for Ben Solo?" And of course, the line loses their minds. The entire line goes, "Yeah, woo!" Of course, because Star Wars fans have united all of a sudden. So, people really got excited. Where do you think that video's going? Where do you think Matthew Wood is sending that video? Straight to Lucasfilm, straight to Kathleen Kennedy, straight to Dave Filoni, straight to Bob Iger's phone, hopefully. Because this movie's gonna happen. This movie's gonna happen. It's not just the fact that Adam Driver wants to come back to Star Wars, because I'm sure he'll come back in some way, whether it be a Force ghost or something in the Rey movie, whatever it may be. He'll come back in some facet. But this movie specifically is going to happen because of Star Wars fans. Because of people like Matt Wood, who was a Star Wars fan before he got before he got a job with Lucasfilm and has worked on Star Wars for so long. People like Dave Filoni, who was a massive Star Wars fan before he became a worker at Lucasfilm. Those people are the ones who understand what it's like to be a Star Wars fan, are the ones who understand when we want Rosario Dawson to be Ahsoka. They cast Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. When we want Boba Fett back, they give us a Book of Boba Fett series. In the fight between Star Wars fans versus Disney, I guess, not really versus, but you know what I mean. Versus getting projects done, we win. Probably 90% of the time. And I'm not talking about an idea. There's a very big difference from like, oh, I want a young Palpatine show. Let's make that happen. There's a big difference between that and a fully finished script that you paid $3 million for, ready to film, with an Oscar-winning director and Adam Driver, the main character, who really wants to come back on board. When the president of your Lucasfilm studio wants it to happen, when your CCO wants it to happen, there's a big difference between one fan going, I'd like a Vader series, and that. Big difference. When you have all that other stuff and a united Star Wars fandom, it's very strange. If you asked me last week what I thought the Star Wars fandom would unite around, never in 6 billion years would I have guessed the sequel trilogy or a sequel character, Ben Solo. Never, ever would I have guessed that. And yet, here we are. Here we are. Star Wars fans really haven't been this united since 10 years ago, before The Force Awakens came out. I realistically, since we've had this channel, which is almost, 5 years old or something. Yeah, we're coming up on 5 years soon. Since we've had this channel, I've never seen the Star Wars fandom this united in 5 years. and it's behind a sequel character. It's wild. So all that to say, all of that to say, do you think it's going to happen? Now that you have the truth of it all, now that you have all of the facts, actually, wait. Oh, wait, yeah, we'll read this article in a second, but yes, now that you have all the sort of facts, almost all the facts. Hang on, I think. Yeah. Oh, this was pretty crazy too. Scott Z. Burns was also a uncredited writer on Rogue One, which was pretty cool. Before Tony Gilroy came on board and took over. We did all that. All right, let's read this article first, and then we'll move on a little bit. We'll move on. Yeah. Question: what if we turn this into Disney sells? Wait, to a Disney 45 sells a 45-minute episode? What does that even mean? I don't know what that means. Anybody with me on an Old Republic shift? I definitely would love some Old Republic content. I just don't think it will happen for at least the next 5 years. At least. Yeah. Vader's nose hair, great name, says, if they're going to continue to draw out the sequel story, then Ben Solo deserves his own story. If not being a part of the main story itself, I could not agree with you more. If you're going to continue the sequel trilogy, there's only one character that fans are going to want to see the most, and that's Ben Solo. So yes, a Rey movie could be successful if you set it up correctly with Starfighter. You have the title of Rey being there, which is not going to help. The billboard is up. Hang on. Is the billboard up? Is the billboard up? This would be hilarious. Oh my goodness. This billboard is up right now. For Adam, no one's ever really gone. Hope lives. Ben is alive. Hashtag the hunt for Ben Solo. Are you kidding me? The fans strike back. If more stuff like this happens, you have a plane flying around Disney Studios for hours that says, save the hunt for Ben Solo. You have a billboard going up. I don't know where this is. I don't know where this is, but you have a billboard going up that says no one's ever really gone. Honestly, they probably couldn't have used specific Star Wars words. That's why it says this, and that's why it says hashtag THBS, because they probably couldn't say Ben Solo or something. So this is probably a copyright-free way to put up a poster. But there's no denying this. Disney is seeing this. Obviously. Lucasfilm's already on board. We know that. We got that covered. Big W for Lucasfilm. But Disney's seeing this. Yeah. The hunt for Ben Solo needs to be made and have Ben be like a Jason Bourne type character. That would be pretty cool. That'd be really cool. That'd be wild. Yes, it's running every 28 minutes on the hour. That is so cool. That is so awesome. So you're going to see more stuff like this happen. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. You got planes flying over Disney Studios. You got billboards going up. Let's see. Do we know where this is? The billboard is up. Is this in Times Square? Because I heard it was supposed to be Times Square. It is Times Square. So the billboard is up in Times Square. This fandom is certifiably unhinged in the best way possible. That's a great way to put it. That is incredible. There's no fandom out there like Star Wars fans, because this is just, it's too good. It's too good. As you can see in the comments, more. We want more. Yeah, to the people who are saying that this won't happen because the movie is apparently quote unquote dead, I disagree. At this point, if Disney doesn't make this movie, think about the backlash that they've gotten for announcing movies. They announced the Rey movie, people lose their minds. They announced, they announced Rogue Squadron back in 2021 or 2020, whenever that was. They got a lot of backlash for that. They were like, Rogue Squadron, this is the next Star Wars movie. Give us something we want. And now, Adam Driver reveals that there was something that we wanted that got canceled, and now fans want it. It's the exact opposite of what usually happens when Disney announces these projects, which is backlash beyond belief. But this is very different. You can feel it in the air. I was sitting here before the live stream with a huge grin on my face because I haven't been this excited for Star Wars news in months. I mean, obviously, the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer was awesome. Rebuild the Galaxy was a really fun time. But this just has the excitement level of like, we're doing this. You know, as a Star Wars fan, you feel like you have some sort of power, and we do. But this is like, if this gets made, the day that the hunt for Ben Solo gets announced, which I'm assuming will be at like Star Wars Celebration, or hopefully before then, but Star Wars Celebration in 2027 would be where it's officially announced. But the day that this movie gets announced, it will be this huge applause from all Star Wars fans across, maybe not all, but most Star Wars fans across the galaxy. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like the idea for this movie, but I love the support that the community is united. Exactly. Even if you don't like Ben Solo, even if you don't want a Ben Solo movie, you can't deny that the fandom uniting behind a simple cause like this is good for Star Wars. It's good for the fandom. It's good for everything. What else? This might be the stepping stone for the sort of question, what else can we do? What else is possible? Because if we can get this movie done, what else is possible? Could we get that young Palpatine show made? Probably not, but you know what I mean. There's more that we can do. Yeah. Because right now, there's like, even Disney, they see all. There's no way that it hasn't crossed Bob Iger's desk already that this billboard is up. And it probably just went up. There's no doubt in my mind that the plane that flew around their studio was seen by Bob Iger too. So there's probably phone calls being made right now saying, how quickly can we announce this hunt for Ben Solo movie? How quickly can we bring Adam Driver out on a stage and please all these people? I certainly hope those phone calls are being made, because if they're not, like, what are we waiting for? What? Like, do you not like money? Do you not like making money? Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Hang on, I think I missed the super chat a little bit ago. Oh, not a Fed, but the very generous $2 holla. I appreciate that. Says Fed here. I mean, not a Fed. What was I going to ask? Oh, okay. I appreciate the super chat, I guess. Yeah. I think he's going to be in another project as a cameo maybe, and then they'll give us more. That was sort of my idea too. They're filming Starfighter right now with this surprise cameo at the end. If they just inject Ben Solo at the end of that movie instead of Rey, instead of Finn, I appreciate the hearts, guys. I really do. If you just inject Ben Solo into the end of that movie, people will be like, what? How is he still alive? Like, what is happening? So then you could, off the backs of Starfighter, announce a Hunt for Ben Solo movie. It would be pretty wild if, let's say Starfighter and The Mandalorian and Grogu, just for fun, are the beginning of new trilogies, as they are intended to be. As Lucasfilm intends them to be, at least. If they are, then you could see the first movie of the trilogy be Starfighter, the second be Hunt for Ben Solo, and the third be the Rey movie. Or, better yet, a Starfighter trilogy where the Hunt for Ben Solo is a movie that takes place in between movies. Or actually, it would take place before. It would be a prequel. So it would be a Starfighter post-sequel trilogy with the Rey movie in there. It would be a part of the trilogy. So Starfighter, Rey movie, third movie. Boom. Trilogy. and a prequel to it, a Rogue One, if you will, to it that comes before it as The Hunt for Ben Solo. Setting up how Ben Solo's alive, setting up maybe a little bit of the galaxy itself, a Rogue One to the Starfighter trilogy. That would be incredible. That would be so good. Yeah. Would you guys want that to happen? Would you want Ben Solo to be in Starfighter and then have The Hunt for Ben Solo be a prequel to that movie, explaining how he survived, explaining where he's been, explaining all that stuff, and then going into a trilogy? Would you want The Hunt for Ben Solo to be the Rogue One of a new trilogy? Yes or no? Yes or no? Poe Dameron makes sense to be in Starfighter? Yeah, definitely. Just because of the Starfighter name, and he is the best starfighter in the galaxy, supposedly. Supposedly. Kylo versus Ren, the movie? What? Question: what if Disney what if they turn this into a Disney Plus show with 45-minute episodes? I don't know. I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like it for a few reasons. One, we got this with Kenobi. There was already a fully finished script for the Kenobi movie. It got reworked into a show. And Kenobi, although the finale is awesome, there's pieces of the first 5 episodes that just feel too long. They feel like they were stretched out because it was a movie at one point and got turned into a show. So if they do that with this movie, The Hunt for Ben Solo, they already have a script and they try to expand it to a 6 or 8 episode show, that would be a disaster. No, I wouldn't like that at all. Yeah. On the other hand, you would have more time to explore the world between worlds. You'd have more time to explore Ben Solo and deal with Adam Driver. So I guess you could learn your lesson from Kenobi and rework the script into a show. But if that's not what's already there, if that's not what's already supposed to happen, then no. Yeah. Mike, question: do you work out? No offense intended. Well, I took no offense to that because I mean, I hope I look like I stay fit a little bit. You know, like look. I don't know. Yes, I do. I do. I don't lift a weight. That's your question. Actually, I do. I lied to you guys. I'm sorry. Friends don't lie. I've been watching a lot of Stranger Things. I'm all over the place today, chat. I'm just excited, okay? I'm just excited. Aloha from New York City, Mike. What's up, New York City? How we doing? Where's everybody tuning in today? You look great, Mike. Thank you. You know what? That just made my day. Even though I was already having a great day, you just made my day even better. Okay. They need to undo this bullshit. Okay, here we go. They did this with our heroes, especially Luke Skywalker. Ben Solo should go through the world between worlds and undo episodes 7, 8, and 9. Well, that will never happen. One, because the world between worlds is not a time travel device that can go back and change the past. And two, it will never happen. I mean, they made $1 billion off of every single sequel movie. As divisive as they were, I still think there's a better route to go down. You know, there's a better route than just undoing it all. Because there is so much good in those movies. I love Kylo Ren as a character. Even Rey, I think, with a good new Jedi Order movie or a good Rey movie or a good story post-sequels can elevate her story in the sequels even. Also, the pre-sequel stuff. If you give us an incredible Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show, if you give us a real story of somehow Palpatine returned, which they already are with the Bad Batch, with the Mandalorian stuff, with Project Necromancer all over the place, it will make the sequels better. I think you're better off making them better with content around them than by undoing them completely. Yeah, now? Mike does work out. He lifts X-Wings from swamps. Exactly. That's what I do on my off days. So every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, when I'm not doing live streams, that's where I am. In the swamps of Dagobah, of course. Yeah. Sadler Family Vlogs. What's up? How we doing? Arizona? Oh my God. Florida? Nice. Nice. Indiana? Los Angeles? Holy crap. Oklahoma? We're all over the place. London? That's wild. I'm so excited for Stranger Things Season 5. Me and you both. You and me both. Me and you both? You and me both? Whatever it is. You know the deal. Yeah. Sacramento? Wisconsin? Earth? Oh my God, you're on Earth? That's crazy. Sweden? Holy shit, we're all over the world here. Scotland? Oh my God. Anybody from Mars? Bespin? Maybe? Naboo? Tatooine? Okay, we got a little sidetracked there. Let's get back on topic here. But yeah. Finally, an actual Skywalker. I like Rey, but as the family, but it is also a family saga, healing the family wounds. Yeah, if you bring back Ben Solo, that would be a continuation of the Skywalker saga, I suppose. Which I'm not really a big proponent of. I want the Skywalker saga to be over, so that it sort of, we can move past it. We can go from here's the idea. You have the Skywalker saga. It's over and done with. 9 movies. You can make other sagas. A Dawn of the Jedi saga, an Old Republic saga, a post-sequels saga. You don't need to keep attaching it to the Skywalker name with every project that you do. Actually, when you don't do that, you're more likely to bring in new fans, but also you're more likely to be able to do whatever you want. That's why the whole Starfighter news of it being unconnected and it being a new project and all this stuff, that excites me. Yeah. Germany? Brazil? Holy crap. We really are all over the world over here. Okay. But let's get to this article. We never even read this, did we? Nope, we didn't. I got way too sidetracked. Okay. Star Wars fan flies plane over Disney Studios for Save the Hunt for Ben Solo banner. Adam Driver rejected movie. So we talked about this already, but I just wanted to put a big old end cap on this. Yes, they rejected it, all that stuff. As reported by The Collider, a group of Star Wars fans paid for a plane to fly a banner reading Save #The Hunt for Ben Solo over Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, California. A reporter for the website was on location for the viral stunt and took photos of the banner flying overhead. Driver revealed to the Associated Press in an interview published on October 20th, so 5 days ago, all this madness has happened in just 5 days, that he spent 2 years developing a standalone Star Wars movie centered on Ben Solo, alongside director and Oscar-winning director Steven Soderbergh. The film would have taken place right after the events of The Rise of Skywalker, according to Driver and Soderbergh. They worked on a script with the Logan Lucky scribe, Rebecca Blunt, and longtime collaborator Scott Z. Burns. Longtime collaborator because he worked on Rogue One for a little bit. Driver starred in Soderbergh's Logan Lucky and Burns' The Report. So they have the connection there. And as he said, he was always interested in doing another Star Wars. Again, even if this movie doesn't get made, which would shock me at this point, shock me, he's still interested in coming back to Star Wars. So whether it is a Hunt for Ben Solo movie or not, he will be back in some way, somehow. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. And then in 2021, Kathleen Kennedy reached out about coming back, and he said, with a great director, great story, he'd be there in a second. So he got the greatest script he's ever read and an Oscar-winning director, and he came back and pitched them a movie. And they said yes, at least until they pitched it to Disney. So, with that being said, it's almost a perfect storm. It was a perfect storm for Lucasfilm. Think about it being Kathleen Kennedy. You get a knock on your door one day, and your secretary or somebody goes, Adam Driver's here to see you. It's like, okay. He walks in the door with Steven Soderbergh, an Oscar-winning director, with a fully fledged script, or at least an idea, because then they greenlit the script, an idea for this incredible movie that will bring back one of your fan favorite characters from the sequel trilogy, in an epic way. You love it. You give $3 million to Scott Z. Burns to write the script. It's an incredible script. You love all of it, and it's fantastic. It's like exactly what they always wish for over there at Lucasfilm. The perfect director with success, with a lot of success. A actor who's a fan favorite character who wants to come back, and an incredible script with idea that the fans love. It's the perfect storm. The only problem is Disney said no. The only problem in all of this is the big old boss, the boss of all of this, said no. But that was years ago. And here in 2025, they don't understand the true power that is the dark side. I mean, whoa, hang on. Rewind. The true power that is the Star Wars fandom. I'm sorry I just compared you guys to the dark side, but, you know, it was right there in front of me. I took the chance. So, with the power of a great script, an Oscar-winning director, Adam Driver, Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, that's not enough. So the missing ingredient, I think, is the Star Wars fandom. And that causes for planes to fly with banners that read, "Save the hunt for Ben Solo." It causes for billboards to go up in Times Square, the busiest place in America, that say, "No one's ever really gone. Hope lives. Ben Solo is alive." Hashtag the hunt for Ben Solo. It's chaos in the Star Wars fandom right now, and I'm loving it. Because it's a chaos that we can unite behind. It's really wild to me that, of all things, we are uniting behind the Ben Solo movie, but I love it. I love it. Not a fan, but a very generous $5 holla. I appreciate it. Says no. Vader's nose hair here. Nice, a.k.a. Fed. What is your opinion on the idea that Ben comes back and the Skywalkers live on? I'm not opposed to the Skywalkers living, but I'm more so opposed to the story continuing about just the Skywalkers. We need more story beyond the sequel trilogy about other people, about other things, you know? Ryan Gosling's character, hopefully Flynn Gray, are going to be unconnected from the Skywalkers again, unless Amy Adams is playing Mara Jade, and that, of course, means that Flynn Gray is Luke's child, which would be insane. Ron, what's up? Hey, Ron, you see this? Hey, Ron. Hey, Ron. Not only did we get this flying around Disney Studios for hours yesterday, with save hashtag the hunt for Ben Solo, but we also got this today. A poster in Times Square. Yeah. Crazy, right? Why is Babu Frick so overrated? Babu Frick, and I'll give it to you perfectly, okay? Babu Frick is the Boba Fett of the sequel trilogy. Actually, no. He's the Bosk of the sequel trilogy. He's the Bosk of the sequel trilogy. He's the Ben Quadinaros of the sequel trilogy. Fans fell in love with him. He only has like one or two scenes, and that's it. He goes, hey, and that's it. And fans love it. So I hope that answers your question. That Dave that loves Star Wars says, what if they've already filmed this and this is all just a surprise? What if Lucasfilm paid for the plane and the banner and the billboard? If this was all just a giant conspiracy, that would be pretty wild. I don't think so, but I would believe that Adam Driver did this on purpose to get the Star Wars fans to do this. Yeah, I would believe that much. I don't know if I'd believe that Lucasfilm is behind the billboard and all the other stuff. Yeah. Whoa, a little bit more on this billboard. The plane banner and the billboard are a $10,000 fundraiser by Star Wars fans. That $10,000 was raised by Star Wars fans to make this billboard and plane happen. It was all in less than 5 days. The Star Wars fandom wants Ben Solo back so badly that they donated $10,000 to make this happen. That's crazy. I didn't even know. I would have donated. What can we do, chat? What can we do? Can we put up a banner? Or can we put up a poster in Times Square? I don't think we have that. I could put up a poster in the background of my videos. That's about it. I don't think I have the capability of making a poster in Times Square happen. Can I get some good cups, follow orders in the chat, please? Bumper. So, if in 5 days, Star Wars fans can make a poster appear on Times Square and a banner around Disney Studios flying around for hours, what can we do next? Star Wars fans have been united again in just 5 days. So what's next? What's the next thing? There are people running around with like $400 billion, so I'm not surprised. Well, that's a little bit different. $400 billion, I'm assuming you're saying like Musk or something. Musk doesn't have $400 billion on hand. He's just worth $400 billion. There's a difference. He'd have to sell all of his companies to get that money. Yeah. But I'm talking about $10,000 raised by Star Wars fans who like are just regular day Star Wars fans. Like people who just, work a casual job, like just they're just Star Wars fans. If we could get somebody with a lot of money to back us, we could be in good hands here. To put this all on a nice little bow, this is undeniable by Disney. It's undeniable that this has gone over the desk of Bob Iger. So I assume that within the next, 3 or 4 months, we will get some sort of update on this. Whether it be from Lucasfilm themselves or Disney or whomever, Adam Driver maybe even. I would hope they announce it soon because fans are not going to stop doing stuff like this until they announce it. So you would assume like with Battlefront 3, it's going to take them years to make a Battlefront 3 game. So even if they announce it tomorrow, you're not going to get that game for at least, 4 or 5 years at the very least. With this movie, it's the same thing. They can announce it today, and we wouldn't get it for another 3 or 4 years because we have Mandalorian and Grogu, and we have Starfighter in 2027. So 2028 would be the closest we could get, which is 3 years from now. So it will be a while if this does get even greenlit. But I think it's in their best bet to announce it sooner rather than later so that fans stop doing this. Because this could become ugly really quickly. These are nice Star Wars fans. These are people who are being really nice about it. No one's ever really gone. Hope lives. Ben's still here. Like, this is just nice. It could get really ugly really fast. Star Wars fans, as great as we are, some of us are crazy. I know I'm crazy, but not that kind of crazy. Like, this could become ugly really fast, so they don't want it to get to that point. We want it to feel like, we're just trying to get the message out there that we really want this movie without doing something stupid. So before somebody does something stupid, let's greenlight the movie. Let's make sure the fans know what's going on. Not a fan, but the very generous $2 holla. I appreciate that. Super chats, memberships keep the lights on over here, and gifted memberships, I guess, too. The hunt for Watto would be cool. Jalapeno burger couch. I don't understand words you say, Sometimes, chat, you guys don't make any sense. They'll announce the movie at D23 in 2026. That's too far from now. Like, if we can do this in 5 days, that's got to be at least 8 months away. And the next 8 months could be chaos. I've been seeing people saying that I'm not going to support another Star Wars project until they greenlight this movie. Like, legit people saying I won't go see the Mandalorian and Grogu movie until they greenlight this film, which might actually affect some stuff. Now, I'm not at that point yet. I'm not going to be like, I'm not watching Maul Shadow Lord until they greenlight this movie. I'm not there. I mean, you guys can do that. I'm going to watch Maul Shadow Lord. But some people will do that, and that will, become an issue. Yeah. That's crazy. Okay. Put your Boba Fett helmet on, Mike. Is that you? Wait. What? What you talking about? All right, let's switch gears a little bit here. Let's switch gears to that Maul Shadow Lord. So we do have some leaks about the Maul Shadow Lord series today, which could, well, first it gives us a little bit of a release window, which is pretty great. And it could give us maybe a point where we could be seeing a trailer for Maul Shadow Lord. So we'll come back to this Ben Solo stuff. We will. Believe me, we will. But we got to talk about Maul Shadow Lord. So this is the leaked image. Sorry. That we got for a vintage collection Star Wars action figure of Darth Maul with the Maul Shadow Lord logo on it. Let's take a look at this. Oh, you guys can't really see that. Let's push this over a little bit. Perfect. So, you got Star Wars, the vintage collection, Hasbro, copyrighted Lucasfilm, mainline. Spring 2026, Maul, VC number 204 or 201. You got Maul. He's got a lightsaber, detachable lightsaber. This is not the one that he has in Solo, but it is the one that he has in Clone Wars. And then you see him there, a picture of him there, Maul, Shadow Lord, Maul, all that. So, ages 4+, so I might not be able to get this yet. But, comedy. Okay. Spring 2026 is in line with what we assumed was going to happen, but it does also mean, because spring, if you guys didn't know, spring, you know the months, you know how the months work? Spring ends on June 21st. That's the first day of summer. So if spring ends on June 21st, that means, well, The Mandalorian and Grogu comes out on May 22nd. Maul Shadow Lord is confirmed to be coming out before The Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which is what we assumed was going to happen, but they need enough time before The Mandalorian and Grogu to release all episodes of this series. Now, we don't know how many episodes it will be. With Star Wars animation before, we had Clone Wars, which was like 22 episodes per season. Hang on, let me look it up. We don't know how many episodes Shadow Lord will be, but if we're going based off of other animated stuff, Rebels is about 15 episodes, season 4. Season 4. 22 episodes for season 2. 15 for season 1. Wow, they're all over the place here. At least 15 episodes. 22 for seasons 2 and 3, but 15 for seasons 1 and 4. So about 15 plus for Rebels. Let's go to the Clone Wars. Let's go to the Clone Wars. Clone Wars season 15. Season 7 was only 12 episodes. Season 1, I believe, was, the 22. And I think all the other first 5 seasons are 22, but season 6 was short because it was cut. Yeah, season 6 is only 13. So 13 to 22 for the Clone Wars. And then the Bad Batch, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, was all 16. Or maybe the last season was 15. So all that to say, Maul Shadow Lord is likely to be anywhere from 12 episodes to 22 episodes, which is a lot. I think it'll probably be that 15, 16, because that's how much the Bad Batch was, and that's our most recent one. But you need at least, and I'm sure they'll double up the premiere, maybe they'll double up a couple more episodes here and there. You'll need at least 10 weeks. 10 weeks, at least. Maybe 12, maybe 15, whatever. 10 weeks of release for the Maul series. So that means at least 10 weeks before The Mandalorian and Grogu, and they'll give it some big gap because they don't want you to watch the finale of the Maul Shadow Lord series and then go watch The Mandalorian and Grogu that same weekend because they want to promote The Mandalorian and Grogu while not having to promote the finale of Maul Shadow Lord. So they'll spread out the projects a little bit by at least 3 or 4 weeks. So 3 or 4 weeks before brings us into April, and then 10 weeks before that brings us all the way into March, February. So I assume that this Maul Shadow Lord series, based off of this spring 2026, and the fact that we have the Mandalorian and Grogu, will come out in February. I wouldn't be surprised if it was January, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was like the 1st of March. But either way, in that area of February, we'll be getting Maul Shadow Lord. Here's our first look at Maul. I mean, we've gotten a look. Let's zoom in a little bit more here. Here's our first look at Maul. This is just the figure. If we scroll over, though, you get a picture of him right there. The animation style is a little bit different in this show, which is kind of cool. I don't really know how I feel about it yet because I really love the Bad Batch animation style and the Clone Wars Season 7 style. But yeah. February 14th, Valentine's Day, you think? Is that Valentine's Day? I think so. Between 12 to 16? Okay, so with this being said, tell me in the chat, when do you think we'll get the release date for Maul Shadow Lord? When do you think? January, February, specific date? March, maybe? What do we think? I remember Lucasfilm saying that they changed the release date to a Wednesday because they didn't want it to clash with movie releases. So there could be some overlap. I think they just meant more movie releases in general because movies just release on weekends. So having the shows come out on weekdays is probably better. I don't mind the Tuesday/Wednesday release as long as it's the 9 p.m. one and not the 3 in the morning one. Yeah. Could it be late winter? Well, I mean, technically, yes, that would be a late winter release. But could it be late this year, are you asking? Late this year, I doubt it. Like December of this year, I seriously doubt it. But we do know that as of Star Wars Celebration, at least, Sam Witwer said he'd worked on this for over a year. So if this was already in production for well over a year before Star Wars Celebration, then technically it could be ready by now, and they're just waiting. Yeah. We do have Visions Volume 3 next week. Visions Volume 3 is in like 4 days. Yeah. So we do have one more Star Wars project to end the year, and that's Visions Volume 3. But it is, I guess, technically possible that Maul Shadow Lord could come out by the end of this year, but I doubt it. May the 4th? No, I don't. Maybe the finale's on May the 4th, but there's no way that they would put the whole series out on one day, and there's no way that they would start on May the 4th because that would run through the run of The Mandalorian and Grogu, and they wouldn't want to do that. You want to spread out your Star Wars projects. But all that to say, when could we be seeing a trailer? Well, it's weird with the animation stuff because when it comes to the Tales animation, like the quick Tales episodes, the trailer for Tales of the Underworld came out only 4 weeks before the season came out. So they were really cutting it close. Actually, it might have been even less than that. Either way, they cut it really, really close. So I wonder how close they'll be cutting it with this. For some animation shows, they've done it way earlier. For example, the Bad Batch, I remember a teaser trailer came out like, I don't know, 7 or 8 months before the release of the show. So, I mean, technically you could expect a Maul Shadow Lord trailer at any point in the upcoming weeks or months. It would be smart of them to put it out maybe in November at some point because after Visions Volume 3, there's no Star Wars for the rest of the year, at least that we know of. So it would be smart for them to give us something into the holidays that would give you Star Wars hype. Another Mando teaser trailer is probably likely around Christmas. So a Maul trailer would be great to see around November, Thanksgiving-y time. Yeah. Yeah. I suspect that they were pretty much done with the work on this show, so they could drop it whenever, but most likely in 2026. Yeah, I think it'll be more 2026 for sure. I reckon that we'll get another Tales of the Jedi or Tales of the Blank on May the 4th. I don't know. There hasn't really been any word of a Tales season happening. but I would love there to be. I mean, we've gone the last 2 years with a Tales on the 4th. Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire. So it'd be great to see them continue that trend, but that would mean that it either releases on the same time as Maul Shadow Lord, or Maul Shadow Lord's already done by then. Despite more Star Wars being great, I can't quite get into Star Wars Visions. It doesn't do anything for the story, and I'm all about canon stories. That's kind of where I'm at too. I like certain episodes of Visions. I'm definitely gonna watch season 3. I'm just not really like that excited, you know. My excitement level is not very high. Yeah. Tales of the Underworld trailer came out April 2nd. There you go. So that was a month and 2 days before its release. That is not that far in advance. Maul Shadow Lord is another successor to the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch. But this will feel more like the Clone Wars because Maul's character is mostly developed in the Clone Wars series. True, but it's also the first, I guess, other than the Acolyte, but even that is still good guys and bad guys. It's the first Star Wars story told from the perspective of the villains. So it's going to make Maul, it's going to make you think like Maul's doing the right thing. It's going to make you think like he's not really the bad guy, or he's not really the worst guy, because you got the Inquisitors, you got Vader, you got Palpatine, you got far more evils in the galaxy. But it's going to give you a whole new look at what Darth Maul is up to. He's going to still be evil. He's going to still be killing people and doing bad things, but you're going to feel more for that character. Yeah. You're going to get more Dathomir stuff. I was just watching, actually, recently the scene from... actually, let me double check this here. I think Star Wars themselves posted this. Let me see. Was it on YouTube? Oh, no, not what I wanted. I don't know if it was on YouTube or not. Let me see. Let's see. It was not. No, it was not. It was on TikTok, I believe. TikTok clock. TikTok clock. How do I find this? Oh, maybe just look up Star Wars. Okay, let's see. What? TikTok doesn't want me to see? Okay, fixed it. Ah, it was on TikTok. Okay. This was 3 days ago. Check this out. They posted this scene from Solo 3 days ago on their TikTok.
Yes.
I regret to inform you that Dryden Voss is dead. Murdered by the thief he hired to steal the coaxium shipment, his friend, Tobias Beckett.
Is that so? Where is the shipment now?
Gone. Beckett took it, slaughtered the others. I alone survived.
One man couldn't have done this alone.
I wasn't there. But if I had been, perhaps I could have saved him.
Bring the ship and come to me on Dathomir, and you and I will then decide what to do about the traitor Beckett and his accomplices.
Now, first and foremost, he did say, come to me on Dathomir. There's more to this. One second. There's more to this, but the big thing I noticed here, first of all, Solo is extremely underrated movie. He doesn't look like this. You got Darth Maul. You see the lightsaber is like half of an Inquisitor's lightsaber, almost. It's the same one he has in Rebels. You see he's got that chain on his neck, the one from the Crimson Dawn. He's wearing these very Sith-like robes. In this image, he's wearing something completely different. This is sort of what he's wearing in the Clone Wars, Season 7. So, at some point, he's going to go from this to this. His visually, he's going to look completely different. But this does take place, I believe, like 5 years after Clone Wars Season 7. 5 years after Order 66. This is still a little bit of ways away, but he does mention he's on Dathomir, so that's going to be where home base is for Maul at some point in this Maul series. And hopefully, if this show does run for, I don't know, a million different, oh my God, Jet. A million different seasons, I should say, it will eventually catch up to Kira. Look at this comment section. What did I say? What did I say? This is on Star Wars' official channel on TikTok 3 days ago. You know what we want. It's Adam Driver holding up a Ben Solo picture. We want Ben Solo. The hunt for Ben Solo. We want Ben Solo. See? Solo and Rogue One are better than the sequels, okay. Will you give me a Ben Solo movie? You can bring back Maul, but you can't bring back Ben Solo? Hashtag the hunt for Ben Solo. Another Ben Solo. Battlefront 3, spread the word. Love this movie. We also love the hunt for Ben Solo. Where is Adam Driver? I need that Ben Solo movie. This is Star Wars fandom right here. This is the power that we have. They are not going to post anything on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, on anywhere, any platform that's not going to be littered with the comment section looking like this. This is a video from Solo, A Star Wars Story. This is a video of Darth Maul and Kira, and yet the entire comment section is littered with Hunt for Ben Solo stuff. Okay, but let me get to my point about the Maul Shadow Lord series here.
Yes.
I'm on my way.
Kira, you and I will be working much more closely from now on.
Maul just flexing on her just because he can. But he says that him and Kira are going to be working a lot more closely together, which means at some point, whether it be season 1, season 2, season 3 of the Maul series, we don't know how many seasons it's going to be, he will have Kira working alongside of him as an apprentice. We know that from the comic books when the Crimson Dawn returns during the time of the original trilogy, so years later after Maul has perished. Spoiler alert. Kira is now the leader of the Crimson Dawn, and she's not force sensitive, and she doesn't wield a lightsaber, but she is still trained by Darth Maul. So physically, she is very capable of keeping up with non-force users. She even goes toe-to-toe with Darth Vader in the comic. She doesn't win, but she does at least try because she's trained by Darth Maul. So that's going to be a big part of Maul Shadow Lord, just probably later on in the series as we get to seasons, hopefully 2, 3, 4, 5. But season 1, we got the Darth Talon stuff with the Twi'lek apprentice he's going to see what the aftermath of Order 66 means for Maul, because we got to see it for the Bad Batch with the whole Kanan and Jarrus scene, and then they go back to Kamino, and the clones are being sort of cast to the side and dealing with all that. But now we get to see it from Maul in the Underworld's point of view, from the Hutts in the Crimson Dawn and the Black Sun and all of those people. We get to see what happens with them and how Maul can sort of unite all of that. Ron with a very generous $5 holla says it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. That is a fact. That's a fact right there. It is really a great time to be a Star Wars fan. Yeah. Maul is such a cool character, but gets his ass whipped every second. LOL. Maybe this show will change my mind about him. Yes and no. I mean, in the Clone Wars, you get more of him doing the ass whooping. Yes, he does get destroyed by Palpatine. But other than that, he and Savage go and kill a bunch of people. And then even after Savage dies, he's killing a bunch of people. So he takes over Mandalore multiple times. Like, he's still badass. But yes, he does lose to Obi-Wan. Again, he loses to Ahsoka even. But I've said this before. Maul's not my favorite character because he's ridiculously powerful, because he's not. He's a good warrior. He's good with a lightsaber. He's not that strong with the Force. And so many characters are more powerful than him. When we see Maul Shadow Lord, the power levels sort of go like this. Palpatine and Vader are all the way up here. Then you got Maul like down here. Then you got the Inquisitors below him. So you're going to get to see him be all badass versus Inquisitors, much like Ahsoka bests the Inquisitors and Rebels very easily. You're going to see that with Maul too. Probably killing Marok, because Marok is in the leaked trailer for Maul Shadow Lord, but he's not that powerful. He's not. He's not that strong, I should say, with the Force. So when we see him fight Inquisitors, he'll look awesome. But if he ever fights Vader or Palpatine in this series, which I doubt Palpatine, but Vader, you'll see him lose, and you'll see him lose pretty easily, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. I only want one good season of Shadow Lord. Now, they have to have multiple seasons because it's supposed to bridge the gap between Clone Wars and Rebels. And at Clone Wars Season 7, you just see Maul running away by himself from Ahsoka. And then he jets off into hyperspace. By the time you see him in Rebels, well, I guess you see him in Solo in between, which we just watched, where he's leading the underworld. He's on Dathomir. He's all badass. And then you see him in Rebels, and it's completely different. He's stranded on Malachor 5. He's been there for God knows how long. The Inquisitors call him a shadow. He's old. He's got nobody. The entire empire, criminal underworld empire that he created is gone. So that whole story has to be explained in Maul Shadow Lord. So I predict at least 3 seasons if there's big time jumps in between seasons. So like the first season will show him training Darth Talon, creating his underworld and all of that. And somehow Talon leaves him or whatever happens with that, we don't know. And then the second season will be about him and Kira and all of that and maybe the downfall of that. And then the third season, if they're doing 3 seasons, will be the collapse of his empire. Maybe Vader comes in and destroys it. Maybe the Inquisitors do. I don't know, whatever it is. And then he goes to Malachor 5 to try to destroy the Empire, destroy Palpatine by using the weapon that's on Malachor 5, which is that Sith Jedi Temple, which is technically actually a weapon. So we need to see all that play out. It should be at least 3 seasons, maybe 4 or 5 if we're lucky, but only time will tell. If the Bad Batch can get 3 seasons, and I love me the Bad Batch, Maul can get a lot more. Yeah. I need to read or listen to Star Wars Crimson Reign before Shadow Lord. Yeah, I mean, you can. I don't know if it's necessary, but you could, sure. I'm curious if they resurrect Maul in Ahsoka Season 2. If he's been dead makes him stronger, I certainly hope they don't do that. Well, first of all, his dead body's not on Dathomir. Like, it's not like Thrawn is there with Night Sisters to resurrect him. His dead body's on Tatooine. Obi-Wan buries him on Tatooine. So it's not like he's nearby. You know? Might be cool to see his death on Tatooine again from his perspective. Maybe add a few twists. Well, you would get, yeah, I mean, you could get more of his perspective from that. Because there's a gap in Rebels where he sort of disappears. And then he comes back on Tatooine looking for Kenobi. So maybe we get part of that too. Yeah. For sure. Dude, a Vader versus Maul fight would be epic, but unfortunately, plot armor would have both of them would come in for Maul. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem though with a lot of that. If he fights the Grand Inquisitor, both of them survive. If he fights Vader, both of them survive. Like, he'd have to fight new Inquisitors we've never met yet, or like Marok, who we know is dead by the time of Ahsoka. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe that's on Dathomir. And that's why Marok is brought back to life by the Night Sisters, or by Morgan Elsbeth, I should say, in Ahsoka. I don't know. We shall see. Obi-Wan burnt Maul's body in a pyre, like Luke did with Vader, as said from a certain point of view. Obi-Wan made a barbecue of Maul's body after Ezra left. Yeah, so his body is it's not coming back, sadly. Yeah. Sadly, I guess. The hunt for Rada, the hunt for Balin, the hunt for Ben Solo, the hunt for Ryan Gosling. There seems to be a bit of a trend going on here. Kind of. The hunt for Rada, the Mandalorian Grogu, the hunt for Balin Skoll, Ahsoka Season 2, the hunt for Ben Solo, of course, what we're fighting to get back, and the hunt for Ryan Gosling. I guess it's more of a hunt for Finn Gray, but yeah. Yeah, you're spot on. Absolutely. Yeah. The Mandalorian Grogu comes out in 209 days. Oh my God, me and Sam got to get on. Ooh, we've been slacking on our Bad Batch watch, and we got to get back on this. We have 209 days to finish all this. We have 209 days to watch 3 seasons of the Bad Batch, 4 seasons of Rebels, Solo, Rogue One, Kenobi, and/or 2 seasons, Rogue One, the original trilogy, Mando season 1, 2, 3, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, Book of Boba Fett. That can be done. That can be done. Resistance? No. We only have to catch up to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. We don't have to watch the sequels unless we have extra time to do so. Yeah. Indeed. Okay. But tell me in the chat. Oh my God, we got a crazy super chat. Tell me in the chat, while we do so, actually, let's put up a poll. Let's put up a poll. I just realized this poll's been up here almost the entire stream. By the way, 77% of you do want this hunt for Ben Solo to happen, which I completely agree, and so does, again, the majority of Star Wars fans as of right now. Most of you know that have seen the Star Wars fandom in a long time. But do you think Maul Shadow Lord, Shadow Lord, here we go, let's phrase this differently. When do you think Maul Shadow Lord will release? Let's give you some options. January. How do you spell January, chat? January. Why does that look so wrong? That's got to be right? Okay. February. I don't know how to spell months, chat. This is not looking good. This looks so wrong. It's got to be right. But it looks horrendously wrong. How do you spell February, chat? Early 2027? No. Definitely not that. March. Even March looks wrong. Even March looks wrong. This is weird. And then April's going to be your last one. January looks completely wrong. The English doesn't make sense. You guys are telling me that I wrote February right, and it looks completely wrong. It looks completely wrong. English makes no sense. You know when you look at a word long enough, it just looks completely wrong? Like, that's what just happened there. Okay, so I just put up that poll. When do you think the Maul Shadow Lord series will drop of all those months? You tell me. Okay, and we got a super chat, $20 from Jordan Rennie. Holy crap. The hunt for the people who love Star Wars Easter eggs. Sadly, there is not one today, Jordan, but next stream, absolutely there will be one. And I appreciate that super chat. That's insanely generous. $20 is ridiculous. I appreciate it. Mike, I know you can spell months. I've seen your tax forms.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Okay. Nika Futterman's birthday's today. I'm glad you brought that up. First of all, happy birthday, Nika Futterman. Can we get some happy birthdays to Nika Futterman in the chat, please? Nika Futterman, if you don't know, is the voice of Assaj Ventress. Since we're on the topic of Maul Shadow Lord, we got to bring up the character of Assaj. This year seems like a slow year for Star Wars content. Andor Season 2, Rebuild the Galaxy, Visions Volume 3. But people forget that there was a 4th project this year, Tales of the Underworld. It almost got completely forgotten about because Andor Season 2 was so good and because of the whole stuff with Battlefront 3 and all that. But Tales of the Underworld, Cad Bane and Assaj Ventress. And the Ventress story is very important because not only is she alive still in the Star Wars timeline, but she has an apprentice that we see in Underworld. And yes, the title of that series is Tales of the Underworld. And, well, Maul Shadow Lord is going to cover the Underworld. So I think we could see Assaj Ventress definitely show up in Maul Shadow Lord. Actually, I think Assaj Ventress could show up in a million different things, hopefully eventually in live action somewhere down the line. Ahsoka Season 2, Mandalorian trilogy, if that's at all happening, because of her connection to the Night Sisters, because of her connection to Dathomir, because holy crap, wait, what? What the? Jordan Rennie with a $200 hauler? He says, you're absolutely right. A $20 hauler was too generous. Sorry about that. What? Jordan Rennie, that's insanely generous. I could not thank you enough. That's just holy crap. What the? What? Jordan, you're insane. I appreciate you. Unbelievable. This is insane. Yeah, you made me a guy who can talk for 2 hours on a daily basis from Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday for the rest of your lives is at a loss for words. Okay. As I was saying, Assaj Ventress could likely appear in Maul Shadow Lord. Tell me in the chat, do you think Assaj Ventress is being set up for something huge in the future? Clearly, Tales of the Underworld not only brought her back from the dead, Ben Solo, Assaj Ventress just got brought back from the dead. Not only did they bring her back from the dead, but I got so distracted. I don't even know what I'm saying here. Oh, but she now has a future. She now has a future. Okay. She has an apprentice. She could be in Maul Shadow Lord. She could appear in live action. And this apprentice is pretty interesting to me too, because Assaj isn't in anything. She's not in the original trilogy. She's not in Rebels. She's not in anything live action as of late, I guess. But I will say she could be. And where she is during those events is actually going to have to be explained. And maybe she's just training a new apprentice, or maybe she's training multiple new apprentices, possibly. I guess only time will tell with that. But maybe that explains where Darth Talon goes, or this canon version of Darth Talon. Maybe it explains that she goes with Assaj Ventress instead of sticking with Maul. And that could explain why she's not there during the events of Solo or even in Rebels, and that could maybe make it a little bit better. Yeah. So, with that being said, where do you think we'll see Assaj Ventress next? Do you think we'll see her in live action? Do you think she'll be in Maul Shadow Lord? Happy birthday to Nika Futterman. But where do we think we're seeing Assaj Ventress next? Yeah. What do we think? What do we think? That's also true. Ron and Nick did a great interview with Nika Futterman on Star Wars Jedi Chat, so go check that out too. I'm more Assaj bald kind of guy, not digging her mohawk. The new hair. I don't know. Maybe she'll go back to the bald. I don't know. We shall see. Mike, my guess is that Maul Shadow Lord will release some months after Star Wars Visions and Master of Evil, but before The Mandalorian and Grogu. Oh, I forgot about Master of Evil. There's a gigantic Vader book coming out to end this year. I think it's in November, actually. So maybe I lied. Let's see. Let's look it up. Oh, no. What was it called? Master of Evil. Master of Evil. When does this release? November 11th. So in a couple weeks. This is a Vader novel. titled Master of Evil. It's supposed to be like a sort of horror Star Wars book to an extent because it's about Vader and it's going to be spooky and scary. But it comes out in a couple weeks. There you go. What about Quinlan Voss and the Path stuff? Unfinished arc. Oh, absolutely. So that also ties into, but that's what's weird to me. I don't see the hidden Path stuff. I don't see Quinlan Voss being involved with the Maul series, unless Maul is killing Quinlan Voss, which would be crazy. But we see Quinlan Voss's name show up in in Kenobi, but we don't see it. We don't see him anywhere else. So he could show up. It would be crazy if Maul killed Quinlan Voss. That would be insane. And Assaj Ventress is there to see it or something, and she loses her mind. That would be pretty crazy. I kind of like that a lot. If Maul Shadow Lord has Darth Maul kill Quinlan Voss, I'd like that. Oh my God, Jordan with another $2 holla says, are you dressing up for a Halloween special? Well, actually, this year we don't have a stream on Halloween. Halloween's on a Friday. But actually tonight, me and Sam are going to a Halloween party the weekend before Halloween. So tonight we're going and we're dressing up as Hercules and Meg. So actually last night, instead of watching our Bad Batch episodes, we watched Hercules. So yeah, I got a pretty good Hercules costume. I'll send the pictures to the Discord. Don't you worry. I'll give you guys a good look at me as Hercules. Yeah. Mike, how do you feel about a Star Wars horror movie? Maybe like Vader hunting down Order 66 survivors? I'm against anything rated R Star Wars. Just because plain and simple Star Wars is made for a younger audience, let's say. But that doesn't mean you can't have scary things that aren't rated R. So, for example, you have some ridiculously crazy stuff happening in Star Wars Order 66, Anakin burning alive. Like, there's some pretty gruesome stuff happening already in Star Wars, and it's not rated R. So you could do some pretty scary stuff with Vader that's not rated R. But we'll see. Yeah. Indeed. Okay. I slept in. Can we start again? Yes, absolutely. Oh, sorry. My fault. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. I'm just kidding. Sorry. Yeah. We're not starting over. No. Be on time next time. A Quiet Place is horror, but not rated R. Is it not rated R? Really? I didn't know that. Yeah, I guess you could do horror without it being rated R, for sure. I just don't. I don't know. You can make Vader scary. That's been done before. Yeah. I would prefer it be a series, though. Vader hunting down Order 66 survivors as a series would be great. Yeah. Indeed it would. Indeed it would. I don't expect to see Ventress in live action anytime soon. Okay, interesting. Well, if she is to show up in live action, it would be in the Mandoverse. So I don't know what your definition of soon is, but I would assume it's going to be in the Mandoverse. If they do a Mando trilogy, it would be in the Mando trilogy or in Ahsoka Season 2. So it's at least over the next, 5 or 6 years is when we would see her in live action. Because after the Mandoverse, I don't think that she's going to live to the sequels. Yeah, I don't think she will, but I don't know. I think it fits perfectly that she would be in the Mandoverse stuff because of the whole Night Sister connection, because of Thrawn, because of all that stuff. She would have that connection to those people and to that place. There was a Vader horror film pitched to Lucasfilm a few years ago, I'm pretty sure. I don't really remember that. I don't really recall. Not a Feb with a very generous $2 holla says, we need more scary 7-foot cyborg space wizard. Yeah, I'm never going to be one to say no to more Vader. That's for damn sure. So I guess only time will tell. We'll have to wait and see. Indeed. Indeed. Okay. Did we get to all this stuff? We got to that. We got to that. I feel like we're missing something. Hang on. Let me go back. I always end these live streams and I just completely forget. Whoa. Check this out. Kylo Ren fights Darth Vader on the cover of Legacy of Vader number 12. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I don't know when that comes out, but that sounds great. The comments, look at the comment section of this post. Look at the comment section of this post. Hang on. Hashtag Hunt for Ben Solo. Did you see the Times Square billboard of Ben Solo and all that? This isn't even the official Star Wars post. Okay. Got footage of the plane flying around. I just can't possibly see this Hunt for Ben Solo movie not being made. Like, there's no reality where it doesn't get made at this point. With the fans pushing it, with billboards in Times Square, with a script already ready, with Adam Driver on board and an Oscar-winning director wanting to be a part of it, there's literally no bad piece to this, except for maybe for some people that it's a connection to the sequel trilogy. That's it. That's it. More Satine and Obi-Wan? That'd be pretty cool. Why is everybody so hell-bent on this Ben Solo movie? Because we love the character. I love the character. And I want more. As the great Ben Solo, or Kylo Ren once said, more. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, this was what I was talking about earlier. So people are having some problems with getting a billboard, and this is what they got. Unfortunately, we are unable to approve your booking as it references the recent Save the Ben Solo Hunt for Ben Solo controversy. Please note that this type of content goes against our billboard's policies, which do not allow material related to political, controversial, or franchise-related disputes. We kindly invite you to submit alternative content that aligns with our guidelines or request a full refund. Oh, you guys can't see that, what I just read. There it is. So some people are being shut down by these companies for putting up billboards. And that's why I think the one on Times Square reads the way that it does, because it says nobody's ever truly gone, and then it goes from there. It's wild. In a world where the Star Wars fandom is united once again, for the most part, behind one thing, and that one thing is a Hunt for Ben Solo movie. Wild time. Wild time. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, and this one thing that I saw real quick, was Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver talking about The Mandalorian and Grogu. On why she signed on to do The Mandalorian and Grogu, she said, I just fell in love with the script. And she said, I didn't know anything about that world. To which Jon Favreau said, well, you can watch the series. And she said, oh, there's a series? So Sigourney is really coming into this with zero prior knowledge of The Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm sure she's seen the original Star Wars movies, but still, she has no idea what she's walking into here. And, of course, the latest reports have been that she does not have a big role in this movie, so there's no real surprise there. But there was that little bit there. The next Star Wars show, Star Wars Visions, is in 4 days. But other than that, I think we hit it all. I think this oh, by the way, this poll says 39% of you say February. That'd be nice. But I think this Hunt for Ben Solo movie is 100% happening, maybe 99.9. But it's just the push from the fans. That's what's going to get it done. And I can't wait. I can't wait. But we'll have to wait. At least, hopefully, maybe a couple days. Hey, Lucasfilm, Disney, let's get that announced. as soon as possible before things get chaotic over here. Smash a freaking like in the stream if you have not already. How many likes do we have, chat? How many likes do we have? Oh, we got a pretty good amount of likes. I like that. I like that a lot. Huge shout out to Jordan Rennie for the insane super chat, but also not a Fed, Ron, not a Fed again, Ron, not a Fed again, Brandon Baker for the monthly memberships, Darth Plagueis Lives for the very generous super chats. You guys were feeling extra generous today. I appreciate it quite a bit. I really, really do. So smash a freaking like on your way out if you have not already. Hit that subscribe, hit that bell, and you know the deal. You know the deal, and let's make this Ben Solo movie happen. Can we? Can we unite Star Wars fans? I think we can do it. We'll find out. Planes flying overhead Disney Studios for hours. Posters, billboards on Times Square in New York City. It's a crazy time to be a Star Wars fan. A really, really crazy time to be a Star Wars fan. And yet, it just keeps getting better. But until next time, hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and may the Force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. This was a great one. I mean, this was one for the history books. This entire week has been pure chaos. The fans strike back. The hunt for Ben Solo is coming back. I can feel it. Don't you sense it? Don't you feel it, chat? But until next time, watch out for a short in about, I don't know, an hour, give or take. And yeah, may the Force be with you. Oh, sorry. That's not how I end these streams. What am I doing? What am I doing? Smash a freaking like in the stream if you have not already. Hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.